Damn, I just lost my damn job. I just want to talk about it. I haven't turned this camera on in some months. Been close to a year probably. I just started this channel not too long ago. There's nothing really unconventional about these thoughts, but I see people talking about their lives, and for some reason I like those videos. People just turn on the camera and they start talking about what's going on with their life. I kind of admire when people are super candid, but at the same time, I feel like there's some barriers I don't want to cross. But who really gives a fuck? I mean, really, I just want to talk about what's going on. I just lost my damn job. Today was my last day. Actually, the last day we worked was yesterday. Today we went in to sign the paperwork, the final paperwork, to get your ass up out of here paperwork, to finalize everything, turn in your badge and uniform if you have one. But man, it's like they announced it about 2 weeks ago. Kind of saw it coming. Like we all thought that it might happen. Maybe like a year and a half ago, we started seeing getting really slow, and we all knew it was possible. But just when it happens, of course, it's a shock. I lost a job in 2017. This is the first time. That was the first time I ever lost a job. It wasn't quite voluntary since I've been an adult in my current industry, and that was jarring. Like I didn't quite handle myself right when I was talking to the head of HR. It was the freaking head of HR. I wasn't yelling or out of line in that way because people don't even know me to be like that. But it's basically when she asked me to leave the office, I didn't leave because it had to do with the facial hair policy. I mean, not that it matters, but they kept changing it. That you could have a beard when I got hired, and then they changed it so you got to shave it, and I shaved it, and then I got a doctor's note, and I grew it back, and then they said, then there was a problem with the note, and then when I went to talk to the lady, it was just I didn't handle myself in the best way. But anyway, I got suspended, and then I lost the job, and I was like, I remember probably like the next day or two when it really hit me. Again, this is 2017. I was walking down the street and I kind of pictured myself like walking on a platform in the sky. And then all of a sudden, like the platform had been pulled out. And I felt like I was just up there. There was nothing holding me up, literally. And it just freaked me out. And I didn't know what the hell I was going to do. But I tell you, I mean, I did figure it out, but it was rough. Since 2017 all the way up to 2020 and going into 2021. But I learned a lot from that experience, like for real. I've grown a lot. I wasn't super responsible a lot of times in my life. Like I didn't do really, really, really dumb things in my life. I don't have a lot of, I don't have like vices or done really dumb shit like drugs or crime and stuff like that. But sometimes I didn't make the best choices, but I've learned a lot since then. So when this happened, when they announced it a couple weeks ago, I mean, honestly, myself and another team member were talking about it about a day before. It was literally like the day before. We were talking about what if they close our department. And summer is a busy time for my field. And we were thinking that they'll either go through summer and then close it, or they'll close it before summer. And we were kind of talking like it would suit us best if they closed it before. And I was actually thinking like I was probably going to have to quit this job before summer. It was something I had been thinking about a lot. Because last year around this time, I could see that I was getting slow, but also I had, recently, like a year before, so what, last year, 2025, so like 2024, I got bumped up, like a job I wasn't even going for. They came to me, it was like, we wanted you to be, assistant shift manager or whatever. And 3 out of 5 days a week, I was the assistant shift manager. I was the shift manager, so it was like $12 an hour more for those days. And then like in 2025, the whole property was slower than it had been. So it came down that all departments were going to cut staff by like 20%. And the way the seniority worked, I just ended up losing those shift days. And it kind of made me realize how vulnerable we can be in these jobs. Now, I wasn't tripping about it or anything. It's just things happened. I understood. I wasn't mad or anything, but I just see how things can happen and how little control we have over our lives sometimes. So it's like, I know there are a lot of different ways the person can make money, can make their way, something entrepreneurial or something creative, or it's just a lot of different things we could do. Also, we can work more jobs. You can do like gig work. Gig work is something I've been doing since I lost that job in 2017. I'll talk about that more later. But when that happened and I lost that shift manager position, I was like, fuck this. Like, I don't want to just let this impact my life in that way and I have no say in the matter. So I started looking for other jobs, like a second job. And it's weird. Once I started looking, somebody actually contacted me that I used to work with, and they're like, we're looking for some good people. And, why don't you apply? And so was a manager. And that person I used to work with before, when he was a manager somewhere else, and like one of the shift managers I used to work with as well. We all work together. They're very cool people. And I ended up checking it out. I applied and I spoke to everyone, and they pulled me in there, and I ended up getting that job. It was around this time last year, 2025 in spring. I took a second job. So I had my main job on days and then the second job at night. And I did that, through spring and through summer. And then when we got to fall, I'm like, this is cool. It was good money and stuff, but it's like I was on my feet and moving all day on my main job. And then the second job, same thing, same position. I was on my feet moving all day. And it was a bit much. Strange enough, I didn't really consider how that would affect me. And I'm like, yeah, this is a lot. So I spoke to the manager at the second job. I let him know, like, this is more than I anticipated. Kind of felt stupid saying it, but it's like it was a lot. And he's super cool. What he said to me was like, okay, look, before you do anything, I'll just take you off the schedule. Because it was the slowdown time after summer. It's like September or October. So he just took me off the schedule. I didn't quit or anything, and I was really grateful to him for that. That was really cool. So then we went through the fall. I was just working my main job, and then when winter was approaching, I started thinking, in my field, there's a lot of seasonal jobs you can do that last for a few weeks at a time. And really, I could not have a regular job in my field that could work all year, just doing these seasonal jobs in different places. Or I can have one place with a seasonal job, so many weeks here, so many weeks here and here, and then have like another one or two other seasonal gigs and just work all year without having a regular job. So I said, there's just one like premium place with a seasonal gig like this, and I'm like, let me try out for that, because I have a lot of experience in my field and I know people and stuff, and it wasn't all that hard. I applied and I got a job, a third job, and like I said, it's so many weeks. They want you to work the minimum of 2 seasons, with summer and winter. It's like 6 or 7 weeks in the summer and like 3 weeks in the winter. But you can do more. But at the minimum of that, like if you can't do that, just take your ass home. You can't, don't even apply. So I got that, and that was cool because it's, the season is from this date to this date. You know how long it's going to be. It's not ongoing. And also I can sit my ass down in that job. They asked me, do you want to do this position? I'm like, nah, let me do this one where I can sit down. That's like the perfect second gig. So that was my third job, but I wasn't on the schedule for my second job. I was just working my main job in the daytime. And this year, So I worked that third job in the winter of last year, 2025 in December, which was cool. I was able to do both of them, and I knew it was only going to last 3 weeks of doing both jobs. But then this year, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna have to make a decision because come summer, all it's gonna be all hands on deck on all jobs, and I got 3 jobs, and sometimes you have to work overtime. Or like I'm gonna have to drop one of them, and I didn't want to drop the seasonal one because that's a really good one to have. The second job, I didn't want to quit that one because it's like, well, then my main job, number one, it's been so slow. We don't know if they were going to close it. We all knew it was a possibility. So I was leaning towards, and ultimately, I was thinking I'm going to have to drop that job before the summer. And then that's when my coworker and I were talking about we would prefer if they would just close it. And then like the next day or two, we'll find out they were going to close it in like 2 weeks. So they closed. Last day was yesterday, and we filled out the paper today, and it was like perfect because, I get my little 2 week severance, and what I was thinking was I want to just kind of chill from the beginning of April until summer, and like when I left that job in 2017, there was no unemployment because my ass got let go. And I tried. I said, "Fuck it, I'll try it." And of course, I didn't get it. And then I didn't have a 401k with that job. I don't know why. I was there for probably 7 years. I never had 401k. I never thought about it back then. Like I'm saying, I did stupid stuff in my life. This one, I've only been here for like 3. I've been here 3 years, going on for almost 4. I had a little bit of something in 401k. And anyway, I was able to get the little 2 week severance to get my PTO paid out, and there's no problem getting unemployment because they closed our department. So I'm like, I know I'm going to be working like probably both of my jobs a lot in the summer, a lot of hours. So it's going to be tough, and I could just like kind of chill from here, beginning of April till summer, like the end of May, and I can even get unemployment during those weeks. But if I get it, I probably won't need to get it very long because my manager from what is now my main job, which was my second job, was like, let's get you on the schedule before summer. So and I told him I'm gonna go out of town for a little while, and maybe towards the end of April, beginning of May, and maybe I get a couple weeks of 2-3 weeks of unemployment, or 4 at the most, and take my ass back to work. And my second job will be my main, and then I'll have the third job, which will be my second job, seasonal. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that were caught off guard when they closed our department. They didn't, some are still looking. They don't know what they're going to do. Some found something pretty quick, but I'm really grateful for what happened in 2017 when I lost that job. I didn't used to learn from my mistakes, but from this one, like, it was jarring, and I learned a lot. Like, even from little things like when I lost that job, I was signed up with Lyft and like one delivery thing, one app, that I would never do it. And I didn't even know what potential it had. When I lost that job, I figured it out. I started doing like DoorDash. I got to the point where I can make 1,000 a week. I would set my goal at 150 in a day, and if I worked every freaking day, I'd make 1,000. But I didn't want to be working. I don't want to be working every damn day, but I can do it if I need to. Just without a job, I can still make 1,000 a week. So I figured it out. That was one thing I figured out. I also, during that time, learned an appreciation for my field, what it is that I do. Like, I realized, shit, what I do is pretty cool. It's good money, and there's work all over the country. There's work all over where I live. I know a lot of people got a lot of experience, so I just learned really an appreciation for it. And there's just a lot of different things that I learned. And so when I saw the writing on the wall last year, I decided I'm not going to move the way I used to, and I made some moves. This is not like me to get a second, especially a third job. That's not how I usually roll. But I learned from those. I learned some valuable lessons from what happened after losing that job. And now when this happened, because I realized when I was thought about when I was walking and the ground was pulled from underneath me, it's like you lose a job. If you work for a living, it's just a matter of getting from here to from this platform to the next one. So it's just like making sure you don't fall in between these two platforms. And so you want to have a savings, you want to have your finances together at all times. And also, I realized I could close that gap. So there is no gap. When I lose that job, there's this platform and now the other one's right here. Plus, I have some savings and all that stuff. So I'm cool. It's like that's only because I finally woke up and learned from my dumbassness in the past. But still, losing this job was interesting. Like I'm out of a job. My brother's unemployed. I'm not unemployed, but I lost my job today. It was weird seeing everybody come up there in their regular clothes and filling out the paperwork and saying goodbyes and stuff. But it is what it is. I realized that this stuff is not permanent. These buildings are not even permanent. There could be, 5 to 10 years from now, there could be a whole different building there. Like none of this stuff is permanent, and you use them. I believe you should. I now believe you should use them as stepping stones. Stepping stones. Any job you get, use it as a stepping stone to keep moving forward. And I've been thinking about doing videos where I just talk about life because I really like when people are candid about their life, and it's interesting to hear about people's lives and ups and downs, and you can relate to a lot of it, and some of it is just like interesting because it's so different from yours. So I've been thinking about doing these types of videos, and now that this happened, it kind of feels good just to talk about it, and it's in line with something I've been thinking about doing anyway, which is just sharing about life. But yeah, that's the story. I just lost my job as of today, and I know a lot of people are going through things like this, and I know some other people who similar thing happened. Same department closed down, and I read like 200 people out of a job at one time. It can be rough, but try not to let these places have too much control over your life. Try to have other things in the works, and try to think about what would happen if, and then move accordingly. Excuse me, and always have things going on in your life if you can, so you can pivot in one way or another. But anyway, yeah, I just want to talk about that. I think I'll probably do some more videos like that. This is not really unconventional. It's just about life. If you can relate, cool. If it was an interesting story, cool. But I'm Mr. Black. This is Unconventional Thought. I'm out.